The rain started like a rumor and turned into a verdict. He pulled onto the shoulder, hazards blinking red on my face. "You need a lesson," he said, as if pronouncing grades. I didn't argue. I watched his taillights shrink until they were only bruises on the dark. 37 miles from home, the wet found my bones. I've learned lessons before. How to stand still while a man tests his power. How to fold a life into quiet. How to outlast the weather. Headlights swept the ditch. A black truck idled beside me. Windows clearing their breath. The door opened and my bodyguard stepped out, the same way he did on the worst days at the company. Steady, unbothered. Reading rooms for exits. "You good?" he asked. I climbed in, water dripping off my sleeves onto clean floor mats. "I'm done being a student," I said. He handed me a towel and a thermos. "Then let's change the teacher." If betrayal has ever silenced you, share your story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more. I stared through the wipers. My husband, Ethan, liked humiliations that didn't bruise. At least not where cameras could see. Take away the coat. Take away the ride. Let the world do the hitting. Tonight he forgot one thing. I am not alone. My God Deacon tapped the dash. "You want to go home or go forward?" "Forward," I said. I've been planning for months. Because when he drove away, he left more than a wife on the shoulder. He left a trail, suspense. I turned on my phone and watched the blue dot move where his car should have been. Except the tracker said he'd stopped somewhere he swore he'd never go. The screen glowed with certainty. The AirTag stitched into his favorite leather overnight bag, pinged from a location I knew too well. The lake house he called the boys' place. Off limits to wives. Off limits to wives' questions. The dot pulsed, as if it had a heartbeat. Lake Road, I told Deacon. He didn't ask how I knew. He drove. My marriage looked like a glossy magazine ad. Ethan, investment wunderkind. Me, operations director at our family firm. A house with angles sharp enough to cut light. We played success like a duet. My mother, a retired head nurse turned warrior, said Ethan was ambitious. My father, a former firefighter with a hero complex, said he was decisive. My younger brother, a musician who fails bravely, once whispered, "He scares you." Only one person never admired the performance. Deacon, former military, now head of executive security at our company. Calm eyes. 2 rules. I don't lie, and I don't watch you get hurt. I texted my friend Lena. Loyal contrast. Barista by morning. Doctorate student by night. Made contact. Heading to the lake. She replied with 3 words that tasted like steel. I've got copies. Copies of what? Everything. Prenup addendum. Credit pulls. A binder Deacon kept. Because he knew one day I'd say, "Forward." We turned onto the gravel lane. The rain softened to a mist, the kind that hides footprints until the porch light tells on you. Deacon parked down the road. "No rushing," he said. "We gather." "Gather what?" I asked, though I knew. Proof. Doors. Names. Weak points, he said, handing me a small case. Inside, a portable drive, a disposable phone, a heavy pen with a hidden lens. "You required a lesson," he said gently, but not the one he tried to teach. Through trees, the house glowed. Music, laughter, a silhouette that wasn't mine moving behind the curtains. I swallowed the oldest taste in my mouth, salt and fury. "We're not barging in," I said. "We're documenting. Suspense." The first face that came to the window wasn't my husband's. It was my sister's. Sophie, my sister who posts quotes about grace and borrows money like breath. She drew the curtain with 2 fingers, phone in her other hand, and I felt the floor of my chest shift. Sophie was the family's golden apology. She means well. She's finding herself. She'll pay you back. But I had kept score in ink. Tonight the tally scratched itself new. Deacon's jaw flexed once. You want to abort? No, I said. I want the angle right. We recorded the plates in the drive. The timestamps on the motion lights. The spare key box number tucked under the eave. He'd told me there wasn't one. We documented the extra toothbrush in the upstairs bath window. The second pair of boots by the door. The jacket I'd never seen draped over the stair rail. Deacon narrated for the camera, like a weather report. Calm, precise. The voice of proof. I imagine you're asking why I hired a bodyguard for my own marriage. Because power is quiet until it isn't. Because 6 months ago, Ethan helped by moving my name off 2 accounts for simplicity. Because I found paperwork shuffling our brokerage into a new LLC with members to be added. Because a woman who runs operations knows when a man is rearranging escape hatches. My phone buzzed. Lena sent a photo. The prenup addendum Ethan signed after our first year. An asset forfeiture clause. If documented cruelty or financial infidelity occurred, we'd added it after therapy. Ethan treated it like decor. I treated it like a fire extinguisher. Deacon handed me earbuds. He's on a call, he said, raising a directional mic. Ethan's voice slid through rain. She'll cave. She always does. I didn't. Not anymore. We withdrew to the truck. Deacon drove slow enough to think. You want the police? Not yet, I said. I want the truth in order. And then the front door opened, pouring light onto the steps. And Sophie laughed a laugh that used to belong to me. Suspense. When Ethan followed her out with my overnight bag, I realized he'd just given me the last piece I needed. He swung the leather bag, the way men swing victories. The zipper I'd stitched the AirTag behind gleamed like an honest witness. Sophie tucked herself under his umbrella, and in the small mean light of the porch, she pressed her cheek to his shoulder, the way sisters don't. Some truths don't require translation. They just require a camera, and a place to put the footage you won't watch twice. Deacon didn't look at me. He looked past me at the road. We don't fight wet, he murmured. We fight clean. We fight legal, I added. We fight with his signature. Our family. Mom with a fear of storms she never learned to name. Dad who worships, rescues more than repairs. Sophie, who wears apologies like perfume. Me with my lists and stacks and plan Bs. We were not built for clean endings, but I had learned from fires. Smoke leaves a record no one can pretty away. We slipped back to the highway. At a gas station, I made 3 calls. Lena. Upload started. Annika. The attorney from my last life's war. Clause is enforceable. If we document tonight cleanly, you have him. Finally, my father. I need you calm tomorrow morning, I said. I need you to bring Mom and listen, without fixing. Dad's voice broke decades of command. You say the time. I'll be quiet. At home, I laid out the kit Deacon insists everyone should own. Fireproof folder. Duplicate. Drives. Printed bank statements. A list of accounts, including the ones Ethan didn't know were mine. We backed up the prenup addendum, the video, the tracker log. We printed the text Ethan sent an hour before the lesson. You'll learn your place. People forget text is handwriting that can't be burned. Deacon poured tea. Tomorrow, I said. I stopped being the most polite person in the room. And then my mother called at 2:11 a.m., voice shaking, like dishes in a cabinet. He told us you ran off. Where are you? Suspense, I said. Meet me at the office at 9 and bring Sophie. The conference room smelled like eucalyptus wipes and fear. I sat at the head, Not because I wanted to, but because it was mine, our company name, a family name. Etch the glass like frost. Ethan arrived first, crisp and empty. He chose a chair too close to mine. Sophie came 10 minutes late. Sunglasses for eyes. Apology for posture. My parents sat together. A ship listing. I slid the folder across the table. Before anyone speaks, I said, we'll watch. Deacon rolled the footage. Rain, porch light, bag, shoulder, laughter. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. My father stared so hard, he forgot to blink. Sophie removed her glasses and placed them on the table as if surrendering a weapon. Ethan said nothing. Annika's square lit up on the screen. Good morning, she said. All business. We'll keep this brief. Your prenuptial addendum includes a cruelty and financial infidelity clause. Last night meets both thresholds. My client is invoking the penalty provisions. What provisions? Ethan asked, finally finding breath. Transfer of your interest in the marital home to my client. Immediate relinquishment of access to her accounts and any corporate cards. Temporary spousal support set to 0 due to breach. And a no-contact order pending the court's review. Annika's voice could slice ice neatly. Sophie whispered, it wasn't, and then stopped. Because lies sound like forks dropped in quiet rooms. My father spoke not to Ethan, but to me. Did he leave you on the road? Yes. The single syllable laid itself on the table, like a simple weapon. Ethan leaned back, scoffing. It was a joke. Jokes don't require a tow, Deacon said evenly. Or a bodyguard, Annika continued. You can sign the agreed order today, or see us in court with your bag and your sister, as Exhibit A. Ethan stared at my sister. She stared at the table. Then my mother did the bravest thing she's ever done. She turned her chair to face me and said, I believe you. Suspense. Ethan picked up the pen, then smiled in a way that told me there was one trap left. Before I sign, Ethan said, tapping the pen against the document, we should discuss the accounts you no longer have. He glanced at Sophie, then at my father. Because I cleaned them yesterday. The room hummed. My mother went white. My father's jaw set. Sophie breathed like someone learning how lungs work. Annika didn't blink. Which accounts? The joint brokerage, he said. The emergency fund. I folded my hands. Both were closed 6 months ago. I said, on paper, the assets were moved to separate trusts. You authorized it, Ethan. You called it simplifying. His smile faltered. Deacon slid a second folder forward. We anticipated your trap, he said, voice flat. Because you've practiced it a long time. Inside the folder, trustee, certificates, transfer confirmations, the recorded phone call where Ethan told the bank, combine under my management. She doesn't care about details. Deacon had advised me to record the call. I had hated that. I no longer did. Annika nodded once, gentle as a blade. The only money you can move now is your own. Ethan's smile fell off his face. Sophie whispered, I didn't know. I swear. She was lying. And also she wasn't. She knew pieces. The attention. The late-night texts. The lake house. But not the architecture of the theft. She had always wanted a palace without the blueprints. My father stared at Ethan with the look. I've seen him give fire. You left her on the road, he said. And then you tried to leave her with nothing. I tried to leave her with a lesson, Ethan said, still clinging to his line. I pushed the pen toward him. Learn yours, he signed. Annika countersigned. Deacon initialed as witness. The room exhaled in a sound like weather changing. Timed out at twos. My phone buzzed. Lena again. Dropbox synced. One more thing. Check your email. Subject. Black truck. Suspense. I opened the message and found a video from weeks ago. Ethan practicing this same lesson on someone else. The video shook like a remembered nightmare. Different road, same rain. The camera caught Ethan stepping out of his car. A woman inside, too afraid to slam the door. He said the same line, "You need a lesson," with the same bored cruelty. He drove off. She stood there, small and shaking. 30 minutes later, another car, an unfamiliar sedan, pulled up. She got in. She survived. But the point was the repetition. He rehearsed humiliation like a sport. I felt two things at once. Rage so bright it burned the back of my throat, and relief so deep it felt like sleep. It was never me. It was always him. Annika watched the video without commentary. "This helps if he can test the order," she said. "Pattern matters." Deacon closed his eyes for a count of 3, his reset, then opened them clear. "You're safe," he said. Not a question. "I'm done," I said. "But I want one thing." "What?" he asked. "A clean exit and a mirror," I said. "So he has to watch himself leave." We returned to the house to oversee the retrieval of Ethan's things under Deacon's supervision. He demanded to bring the leather bag. Deacon shook his head. "Property of Exhibit A," he said. Ethan smirked at the phrase, and then carried out a box labeled books that clinked like bottles. My father stood on the porch, hands in the pockets of a jacket that smelled like smoke and winter. He didn't say, "I told you so." He said, "I should have told you sooner what you already knew." "I knew," I said. "I just needed to stop pretending I didn't." My mother hugged me, small and tight. "You can come home," she whispered, "or stay where you're strong." I chose door 3. Neither. I chose my own door, one I'd pay for and lock. With Deacon's help, we changed the locks by dusk. With Annika's help, we filed the order by dark. With Lena's help, we posted nothing. Silence that wasn't surrender, but strategy. At midnight, Ethan texted, "You'll regret making me your villain." I turned off the phone and slept for the first time in months. Suspense. In the morning, the judge's clerk called. Order granted, effective immediately, and asked if I wanted a final word read into the record. Courtrooms have their own weather. This one was fluorescent and final. The judge read the order without music. Penalties per the addendum, property transfer, reimbursement of legal fees, and a 3-year no-contact injunction. Ethan stood with his hands stiff at his sides, a boy at a principal's desk who still believed he was charming. "Ms. Hart," the judge said, "my name. I am not nameless. Do you wish to add a statement for the record?" I stood. I looked at the seal, not at him. "Only this," I said. "Cruelty memorizes itself. So does resilience. I am done giving exams I never agreed to take." My voice didn't tremble. My hands did. It felt right that some part of me shook and another didn't. Outside, rain held off as if the sky had manners. My father waited with an umbrella he didn't open because it wasn't raining. My mother pressed a thermos into my hands. "It's over," she said, like a prayer. That didn't need answering. Sophie hovered, smaller than I remember, the screen-dark phone in her fist, a kind of apology. If betrayal has ever silenced you, share your story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more. We drove not home but forward, to the range where Deacon trains the staff to keep their hands steady and their minds kinder than their jobs. I handed him the pen camera. "Retire it," I said. He dropped it in a bin labeled, "Broken Things That Saved Us." At dusk, I stood on my own porch, the one with numbers only I memorized, and listened to a quiet that didn't feel like exile. It felt like a room I'd finally bought, walls painted, with choice. A black truck rolled by once and kept going. Action without intrusion. Mercy without debt. I texted Lena a single line. Lesson learned. His, not mine. Have you ever forgiven someone who didn't deserve it? Tell me below and subscribe for more true tales. His power crumbled. Mine stood.